When I played basketball, my left hand was a freaking weakness. And it was a weakness that I knew about and I basically didn't want to work on. My coaches used to tell me, Ivan, you got to develop that left hand if you want to be if you want to go to the next level. You got to develop the left hand. You cannot be a one-trick pony. You can't just always be going right. If you know anything about basketball, you know that, you're often put in the position where you have to go both ways. You dribble right, dribble left. So my game plan was that, I would always go right because my right hand was really good. I could shoot the ball quite well, I guess. And I could also, I was quite quick on my feet. So those two things combined means that I would get defenders, closing out, quite hard on me because I can make the shot, and then I would kind of go off the dribble and take it to the rack and go right. Soon people realize that I'm just going always right, and so they would send me left. What that means is they would kind of on the closeout, they would go more to my right hand side, stop me from pump faking and going right. So I would have to go left, and sure, I would go left, and I would beat the man left. But when I get to the ring, I would get basically afraid of shooting the left hand layup because I had no control of the left hand. I would often miss layups. What that resulted in is basically me doing a pullback dribble and trying to do like some sort of floater or a jump shot, which is again a right-handed move. Coach used to tell me all the time, Ivan, you got to work on it. The reason why I didn't work on it was because, I was 14, 15, 16 years old and basketball was a fun thing to me. I enjoyed having fun. Working on something that you're really, really shit at is not fun. At least in my opinion, looking back now, the reason why I didn't work on those movements, that left hand, was because it wasn't fun. It's not fun to go back 50 levels and start working on something that's so damn weak. Missing layups, shooting, 1 meter shots with your left hand, trying to do like little hooks around the ring with the left hand, all this type of stuff, doing dribbling moves with the left hand. And you often kind of make mistakes. You lose control of the ball, you miss shots, and it's not fun. That's what separates elite lifters, elite basketball players, and hobbyists. The dudes that I mentioned who are elite, they do all the necessary work. Fun or not, they put the work in. They have to put the work in if they want to be at that level. Looking back now, I'm on to my next kind of project, passion, weightlifting, the barbell. I'm looking back at the lessons that I learned back then, and I'm like, man, am I going to make the same mistakes again? I'm always doing the same thing that I'm really good at. I'm always focusing on the same thing. I'm always working on my strengths. And that's fun, and I love doing that, and I love expressing those movements. That's joyful for me. But is that going to get me to the next level? I've made several videos in my journey about my thoughts, about targeting my weaknesses. And I've on and off targeted my weaknesses. Sumo deadlifts are my left hand. Simple as that. I do not feel comfortable with wide positions, wide foot placements, and deadlifting. In fact, I don't even like squatting like that. And that's kind of built upon from years of watching and kind of falling in love with a certain type of squat, with a certain type of deadlift. I think conventional deadlifts are beautiful. I think ATG high bar squats are beautiful. I think really wide above parallel squats, or you can call them parallel squats, ugly. I think sumo deadlifts are ugly. That's just my opinion. I didn't get excited about this whole journey of weightlifting on those lifts. I got excited about the ATG thing and the conventional thing. That's me, man. That's what got me excited. That's what I want to emulate. That's the style I want it to be. However, there is something to be gained when doing your weakness. The sumo deadlift is also a deadlift, right? By name, it's kind of similar, but it calls for very, very different positions, and it calls for very different, not very different, but like different loadings and different mobility requirements, definitely. It's a shit time for me to do deadlifts. You guys have seen me do deadlifts now for basically a week, something like that, and it's not looking good. It's a frog stance. I'm trying to push it a little wider. I can't. My adductors are pulling my knees in. So even if I put my feet out really wide and turn them out really wide, what happens is I feel pressure on my knees because I can't open my hips up. My hips are pulling my knees in. And so then you have a situation where you are loading the medial aspect of your knees, the medial cruciate ligament, and it feels funky in the knee, especially if you start loading it. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to force mobility on a body part that is not ready for it. And so I'm doing these frog stance, freaking bent over. You can call them conventional deadlifts. Really, I'm just doing a conventional deadlift that's a wide stance. You know, by definition, a sumo deadlift is when your hand placement is within your feet or between your knees. But technically speaking, a sumo deadlift should be a much more upright movement. I can't do that. It's very difficult for me to do that. It's a freaking left hand. I always want to go right. I always want to do the conventional deadlift. I always want to do ATG high bar. And so that's the thinking behind this. I have not left. I have not departed to the dark side like some of you guys have said in the comments. Very much, you know, the true blue Aussie bloke that freaking loves conventional and ATG high bar. That's me. It's never going to change. I didn't come into this game because of numbers on the bar or whatever. Whatever the case might be, just numbers. No, it's not like that. For me, it's aesthetics of movement. I want a full range of motion. When I saw Klokov do that ATG pause squat, my freaking eyes lit up. When I saw Louis Simmons and them boys do a sumo deadlift, lift like 2,000,000 pounds, I was like, the hell is this? What is this atrocity of movement? What are these people doing? When I saw a really wide, feet turned out to freaking 90 degrees, sumo squats, I was like, this is absolutely revolting. Are these people cheating? Why is this allowed? That's me looking outside in to the powerlifting. Those are my first ideas. And they've kind of moved on since then. I still respect the people that do it. They're very strong. But to me, I would never go down that path. It doesn't excite me. However, there are benefits in getting strong in some of these positions. Absolutely. There's benefits. My hips feel wonky, man. They feel really, really weird in those really wide positions, man. Like I don't know what to use. You know, I don't know whether to use. My body's so weird. The central nervous system's like, what do you want us to do, man? Like, which muscle are we activating when? Like, talk about skill acquisition. Like, I haven't done this thing. This is like probably 10th time in my life that I've done sumo. You know, like it's very, very new. And trust me, I'm aware that my deadlift form in sumos is very off. I've said that in the comments. I've seen Jamal Browner move. To me, that is probably the best looking freaking deadlift in the sumo technique I've ever seen. Jamal Browner's deadlift looks amazing. It almost makes me think it's as beautiful as a conventional deadlift. Something about him, how he deadlifts. Maybe it's his leverages. Maybe it's his freakish mobility through the hips. He just like bends that bar like it's nothing. So that's kind of the view on this. Doing the week stuff, basically. I said to you guys that I want to get 4 plates on the front squat. So that's 180 kilos. I'm on the journey to do that. And that's when the thinking started. Well, if I'm attacking the weaker style of squat that I have, the front squat, I might as well start putting in some of that cheap volume into the sumos. And I did it for a couple of days just to see how I was going to feel. And to my surprise, my hips started feeling amazing. Really opening them up. Really making me feel strong under the front squats as well. That kind of open hip positioning, spreading the knees, carried over really well to the front squat. So if you want to improve your front squat, consider doing sumos. I know, I hear you. It is ugly, it is this and that. I think most people prefer conventional. I might be wrong on that, but I think it's worthwhile doing. I don't know. I don't want to make the same mistakes that I made as a kid in basketball. Oh, I'm just going to get really, really good at the right hand. I'm going to beat everyone right hand. I'm going to get really good with the floaters. So I'm going to try and beat them right no matter what. And if they stop me, I'll just pull up over them and I'll just float them, do a floater or something like this. You know, you could spend, say, 5 units of time into improving your strength and you might get 1 unit of improvement. But if you spend 5 units of time into a weakness, you're going to get 5 units of improvement to the thing that you're weak at. The law of diminishing returns, man, and in the grand scheme of things, as an overall character, overall player, you benefit much, much more by working on the weakness. And this is the whole thing. This is where you separate your hobbyists and your freaking professional elite guys, man. They don't give a shit whether it's fun or not. It's a job. I'm here to freaking improve. I'm here to do the things that I need to do to get better. And it's not about fun. It's not about any of that fluffy shit. if I had this mentality, I keep saying this to you guys, if I had the mentality of a 32-year-old Ivan when I was 16 years old, I would have been a completely different animal, basketball player, uni student, nurse, all of that. But obviously you can't do that. You know, how many 16-year-old blokes around there have the experience of a 32-year-old father, clinical nurse, you know, all that stuff that I've kind of been through. So I'm just trying to learn from my mistakes. And I encourage you guys not to be dogmatic in your thinking. Don't be so set in your ways. Don't be so egoistic. Don't be so, this is the way, you know. I'm looking around the world about, you know, football, basketball is what I follow, and I see a lot of these coaches, you know, I see a lot of players as well being stubborn, not following the flow of the game. The basketball right now is being played outside in, as in back in the freaking 80s and the 90s used to be played inside out, meaning the big man was the focal point of the whole game. Now it's the quick shooter guy on the perimeter. And so a lot of these guys who have kind of come into the league maybe in the early 2000s, and now they're like 20 years in, or like maybe mid thousands. Now they're 2020 and the game's completely changed. And a lot of these guys are dropping off because they're refusing to adapt to the game. They're refusing to work on their weaknesses. They're refusing to work on their jump shots. So a lot of these guys are just like not getting minutes on the court because, number one, they can't run. They're not fit enough to run and keep up with the game. And they're not a threat. They can't shoot a shot. They can't, you know, guard a guy on the perimeter. And so basketball's going, you know, more and more small ball. But there are players, kind of like Nikola Jokic, who is the freaking MVP last year. He's a 7-footer. He's a 7-footer winning an MVP in an era where it's small ball. Think about that for a second. What's making him so good? In the wrong era. He's in the wrong freaking era. What's making him good? He can pass. He can dribble. He can shoot from everywhere. He's literally a triple threat. He can do everything at any point of the court. And he's 7 feet. He's 7 feet tall. And he's like, I don't even know how heavy he is. He's probably 120, 130 kilos. Probably 140 kilos. He's a big dude, right? He doesn't even look like he's fit. But he can run. You know, he gets it up down the court really well. So work on your weaknesses. Don't be stubborn. Don't be one of those guys who's just like, it's not fun to do that. I hate to do that. I don't want to be seen doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Man, I never thought I was going to be doing chest flies, you know, pec flies. You'll see at the end of this video, I did it again. I've been sore this whole time. So it's been like 4 days. I've been sore in the chest from doing simple chest flies. I hate the idea of bodybuilding, isolating these damn movements, but it's making me feel unreal. So I'm letting go of some of these extremist views that I have about doing these things. Look, the chest flies feel good, but I'd rather be doing bench press. You know, I'd rather be doing bench press. It's more fun to put on 2 plates, 2.5 plates and do that for a couple of sets rather than handling 5 damn kilos in a chest fly. You know, like, you gotta swallow your pride and be like, okay, yeah, that's what it is. That's what I gotta do to improve. You know, so this is, I guess, a maturity side of me now. I'm thinking about the game, thinking about all of this from many different aspects. And I'm, like I said, I watch basketball, I watch soccer, and I see these greats of the game struggling to adapt. Some of them are adapting, and I think it's a quality that you need to learn. And the sooner you learn it, the better it is. Not everything that you do in your passion, whatever the passion might be, has to be fun. Just remember, what separates the elite and the hobbyists, or the guys who just want to have fun, is that very thing. The dudes who are concerned about just improvement and mastering that passion of theirs, they're going to do the things that are boring as hell. Okay? That's the difference. And I guess that's what separates, you know, who really loves the game and who's there just to freaking screw around and have a bit of fun. I spoke about this whole idea about discomfort and comfort and fun and entertainment. A lot of people wake up in the morning and they're like, all right, plan the whole day out about having fun. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to eat. I'm going to have all the sugar that I can because that's fun. That's tasty. I don't know, eat chicken and broccoli. That's boring. That's not tasty. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy life. Enjoy. The funny thing about that is, like I mentioned last few videos, is that that's not where growth is. Growth is in the uncomfortable, in the not very tasty things, right? You got to learn how to look at life from that aspect. Because if you think about it, if sugar was really good for us and it would make our muscles really big, everyone would be jacked. Everyone would be really in good shape. But what do we see? We see half of the globe obese. It's something like this, or half of the Western world is obese. This is a crazy stats, man. Why? Because that's the easy path, man. It's the easy path to sit on your ass and watch Netflix and down tubs of freaking yogurt and ice cream. That shit's easy. What's hard? It's hard to go for a 10K jog. It's hard to squat every day. It's hard to deadlift 5x5. Those are the hard things, those are the things that we don't like to do. Do the thing that nobody wants to do. There was a quote that I put on one of my first videos, one of my first few videos that I put a quote. I'm going to butcher it now, but it's something along the lines of, I'm going to do today what nobody wants to do, so tomorrow I can do the things that nobody else can, or something along those lines. So I'll do the things that people don't want to do today. I'll do the things that no one wants to do, so tomorrow I can do what nobody can do. Okay? Want and can. Right? I'm going to do the ugly shit, the boring shit today. So tomorrow I can do the shit that nobody can do. That's kind of the aspect of it. And it kind of like speaks along the lines of sacrifice, about vision, about planning the long term, about not just enjoying. A lot of people say, "Oh, life is about just going from one high to another. Just enjoy life. Enjoy everything." Even though that sounds good, I don't know how that works, man. Like, I don't pop out of the freaking bed and I skip my way to freaking work and skip my way into every patient, every counter of work. Man, I'm not pumped to go to work, man. Like, I'd rather stay home and play video games and chill with my family and squat, right? I'd rather do that. But I have to go do that, right? These are some of the maybe not so fun things which are very beneficial for me. Why are they beneficial? Well, it puts a freaking roof over my head and puts food on the table. So going from one high to another high, I don't know. I don't know how beneficial that is for us going long term. So that kind of explains my position on the sumo. It's my freaking left hand. It's my left hand of basketball. Sumo is that for me. It's weak. I don't know. Maybe over time, I'm sure over time I'm gonna get more comfortable. Some of these lateral hip structures are gonna start opening up a bit more, and I'm gonna start to feel a bit more comfortable. But right now, like, I feel, number one, I can't open up my hips and I can't bring my hips closer to the bar. That's the thing, because my knees are in the way. And so what I really need to do is externally rotate my hips and then basically move my pelvis closer to the bar. I can't even access that range of motion, and I can't even get those muscles in that plane of movement. So like I'm trying to use a weapon that I can't even get into. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even access that power. And a lot of powerlifting, if you think about it, is just about leverages, man. This is why sumo deadlifters, generally speaking, from my experience, lift more, because there's less work done. There's less work done because there's less distance. You're more upright. It's basically a leg press, essentially. Really wide, weird-looking leg press. It's all about leverages. So if you can kind of manipulate your leverages in such a way to access some of these, different muscles, then you'll see, I guess, bigger numbers on the bar. Ultimately, I'm doing sumos purely just to get stronger at the conventional. I've seen Ed Cohen talk about this. I've seen a lot of the guys in the game, like, OGs, legends of the game, talk about this. The best accessory for conventional is sumo. The best accessory for sumo is conventional. So if you're a sumo lifter, try some conventional. I don't know. It's one of those things. And the weird thing is, like, I didn't even link the two, but the sumo squats are making, the sumo deadlifts are making my front squat feel really nice. So it's a really weird thing. And so, yesterday I did 140 for a set of 5 on the front squat. Today I decided not to do sets of 5 that heavy, and I worked up to 160 for 1. But I'm really, this is it, I think. Yeah, or is this 150? So basically that's what I'm working towards. 200 would be fantastic, but I want to get to 4 plates, 180. And I feel like this is contributing to this. Now, the lunges I've kind of dropped off in the last 3-4 days. I want to completely wash away that fatigue, because I was exhausted. I was doing lunges like 3, 4, 5 days in a row. So I've kind of given them a bit of a rest. They'll come back in as well. So I'm kind of thinking week on, week off with them kind of thing. But yeah, it's an amazing exercise for hip mobility once again, in that sagittal plane, and then the sumos are kind of like frontal plane. I think I'm getting that right. I think, yeah. So I'm kind of doing both ranges of motion. So essentially, getting really strong in that front split position and also the horizontal split position. That's what I'm doing here. And these are the chest flies, man. This exercise is kick ass, man. Do it. Don't even do it for anything else. Just do it freaking just to end the workout and feel amazing. You walk out, chest up, chin up, like it just feels amazing. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.